Wow,
People love making prank calls.
that video actually gave me chills.
Hello there, welcome to another episode of Reality Postscript COVID-19 edition where we will be discussing and reacting on the videos that very related to everyday lives. But before that, my name is Muhammad Aizrin and I would like to introduce my friend as well for today's discussion, which is Muhammad Irfan Khan, Arif Razif, Hazel Muhammad Hanif, Rabitul Adawiyah, and Marisa Yusri.
Alright, for today's reaction video, we have chosen the video Super Bowl 2015 Domestic Violence PSA. The National Football League at firm has created this public service announcement video in an attempt to combat domestic violence and sexual assault. The video is about an actual 911 call between the operator and a female caller, which is the victim of domestic violence. So, are you guys aware that the number of domestic violence cases keeps increasing during COVID-19 pandemic?
So as for this episode, we will be reacting and giving some commentaries based on the video that we have chosen. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this video.
Operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brymere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
It's a very nice house, very aesthetically pleasing, especially when you look at the painting over there, but then you start seeing that it's such a mess, and then there are unwashed dishes, and the woman is like calling for pizza but calling it to 911, which is weird because no sane person would do that. So I don't know, maybe the woman is mentally unstable and maybe this video is about mental health, I guess.
It'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Wow, that video actually gave me chills. Like, it really gave me chills. Thankfully, the operator on the line with her was very understanding because she was ordering a pizza, right? But the operator was like kept on asking on like, oh, is it because there's somebody in the room or what, when and whatnot, right?
I could see that the operator on the line is starting to get annoyed because, like, who would it, like, I think operator line persons have to be super patient because, dude, if I get calls on pizza where I'm supposed to get emergency, I'll be annoyed as well.
In this case, I get why the operator is like skeptical right now, because in truth, right, these emergency calls, they are more or less, for the most part, people love making prank calls is one thing, right? They get prank calls like all the time or more often than not.
Some of the operators might think that it's a joke and just instantly hang up. It is a very serious topic, because as the video states, when it's hard to talk, it's up to us to listen, and thankfully she got an operator that listened to her, that actually understood her situation at the time being.
Now it makes sense. Yeah. No wonder she called asking for pizza when she knew well she was calling for 911 and still stating that she has an emergency when she's alone in the room. Ah,
One thing I like about this is the lack of music actually. I actually really like that decision because sometimes when you see this PSA, right, they add like this like cheesy, sad.
it's super smart for Super Bowl to come up with this kind of PSA because it goes to show that when it comes to domestic violence or sexual assault, you just don't really know what's happening behind closed doors. And I also like the fact that you don't necessarily have to show violence on air to give awareness on this issue.
I feel like it adds more fear, in my opinion, when they don't show it to them. Like it leaves the viewers to imagine themselves like what kind of situation she is in right now.
It's a really good PSA. It comes to show that even when you think you are alone and it's impossible to seek out for help, help is reachable and possible.
This is just I'm just feeling a bit too overwhelmed. So, yeah.
Okay, so for this last segment, we would offer you some commentary based on the video that we have watched and also some questions that we are going to discuss. So why do you think that those victims would choose to stay or return with the abusers?
In my opinion, well, I think the victims return to their abusers because they share a life together, like for example, their marriage, children and finances. It's not easy for the victims to leave their partner. It can be life-threatening. The abusers have power over them since the abusers know their daily routine and whereabouts. Yeah, other than that, well, I think the victims believe that things might change in the future. So they will stay with the abuser because of love and this hope that the situation will get better soon. Also, I think there is this fear inside victims of how people will react if they seek for help. It's also embarrassing to admit, or this stigma of having a partner that is abusive. So yeah, I think these are the reasons that influence the victim's decision to return or stay with the abuser.
How do we hold abusers accountable?
Right, so when we talk about accountability, there is no one size fits all situation, but I think as society, one way we can help is by naming the abusers. Like if you know someone who is abusive, call them out. Like make sure everyone knows their name, and once that happens, start to disassociate yourself from them, because it wouldn't do if we just keep on, agreeing with the abusers, making lives easy for them. So like what's important is for you to call them out and then disassociate. And it's also important to note that you have to believe in the victims, doesn't matter whether you are sure or not that they are right, but just whatever happens, believe in the victims, because not believing in them says more about you as a person.
How do you think that we can ease the burden of the domestic violence victims?
Alright, so to ensure the prevention of domestic violence against women, particularly during this pandemic, there are plethora of ways on how to ease their burdens. So the first one would be help them by providing any services that could help them which operating during this pandemic. For example, Talian Kasih, Women Aid Organization hotline, and so forth. So these services are mostly provided by the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, and as well as other NGOs. So be prepared to call the emergency health services if the victims or someone that you know need immediate actions. So the second one would be stay in contact with the individuals on a daily basis in order to make sure that they are safe. Word of warning, please make sure that or assume that the abuser can see, monitor, and even hear their communication devices. So by identifying the right mechanism to communicating with them while the abuser is at home, so that the victims are not at risk or additional harm. So these are my opinions on how to make that the victims of domestic violence is on the right track.
With the current pandemic situation that we are having at this moment, how do you view domestic violence in the midst of COVID-19?
Well, I think with the pandemic and everything going on, factoring the CMCO, the MCO, I'm sure that there's a significant number of spike in cases of domestic abuse in every state. I'm pretty sure of that. As with the MCO, CMCO, and whatnot, most people will be staying at home, right? Domestic abuse would surely happen more often than, as people are not going to work, as they are also working from home, and they might release their stress onto their spouse or their children, which is very dangerous. And as Izudin had mentioned, I really do hope that they do contact those hotlines and seek for help. And I hope people will listen. And even if they don't contact those hotline and they speak up on social media, I do hope people do listen and help those people in need. Yeah.
It's happening by coincidence as we are sharing this issue, because one of my friends, Arina, has texted me a few days ago and telling me that a babysitter of her niece has got into a physical abuse from her husband. And she literally heard the babysitter screaming, and it sounded so shaky, and probably because her husband beat way too hard, and it involved throwing objects as well, since she heard the situation loud and clear. And a thing to ponder, can you imagine how unsympathetic her neighborhood of not showing any concern? Because I believe that there are stages of domestic violence to take place. And what do you think of just mind on your business idea, even though they literally know the situation and the condition of the victims? How would you remark this situation?
I think for me, it depends on the context of the situation, because if it involves something, I'm not going to say trivial, but it's something that doesn't necessarily break the law, as like infidelity, cheating, those sorts of things. And I know that couples nowadays, they love to air out their dirty laundry on social media, and people just love to comment on it, intervening, giving their opinions on their relationship. At the end of the day, that's not our concern. We shouldn't be intervening in such matters, because at the end of the day, again, that's their problem. Just because they post it online doesn't mean we have to respond to it. But if it involves assaults, physical violence where someone's life can be in danger, then as a healthy community, we should absolutely intervene these types of couples, because it is against the law and it can potentially kill someone in the process, and we should try and defend these abused and bring these abusers to justice.
So I think I can give a mini conclusion on this segment itself, that how there is a saying in Malaysia, how it goes like jaga tepi kain sendiri, right? I'm pretty sure everyone knows well of that saying. So I think first of all we have to remove ourselves from that saying, from that stigma itself, when it includes like what Ari had mentioned, when it involves physical or mental abuse, we do have to actually step in. And if we are not able to step in, we can hear it out and maybe provide the necessary hotlines and whatnot to the people who are being abused and whatnot, right? And with the pandemic and everything going on that is currently going on, I do hope that everybody is in a good health. And if you are having any problem, please do contact those hotlines that Izudin had mentioned earlier. Yes, thank you.
And to wrap, I want to say that it is important for us to be the responsible community, and hopefully Malaysians would be more aware of domestic violence. We can make a difference. How? Get through someone that we trust, that you trust. friends, families. There are NGOs that will support and try to help you, and not to forget the Talian Kasih 15999. So feel free to share this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up, type your concern away on the comment box below, and any other topic that you want us to discuss would be great. Till next time, bye.